It's such an honor to speak to you. You came and you spoke to my team and you really inspired them. I mean, I know who you are and I know what you do. For my audience, maybe you could just share a little bit about, Walter Bond, NBA player, public speaker, business development creator. How do you go from the NBA to becoming a public speaker and helping people build their businesses?
Ironically, very easily. My family are either preachers or teachers, right? If you think about the culture I came from, my dad was a high school principal. My mom was a teacher. My brother and sister are teachers. And my older brother's a preacher. So I come from people who teach and run their mouth. My wife came from entrepreneurs, right? And so when my MBA career ended, we were trying to figure out our next move. And it was like, you got your peanut butter and my chocolate, and you got your chocolate and my peanut butter. I looked at my wife and I said, look, I want to be a motivational speaker. She was like, well, I love running businesses. And so we launched 23 years ago. Now I'm a Hall of Fame motivational speaker, only 200 alive.
Are there any similarities between, playing in the NBA and selling?
Absolutely. I think sales reps are corporate athletes. I mean, you have to get numbers, right? You have to be productive, and numbers don't lie. In basketball, you had a stat sheet. And when the game was over, you looked at the stat sheet and it was clear. Did I play well? Did I not play well? Did we play well as a team? Did we not play well? Well, why did we lose? We got out rebounded. Why did we lose? We didn't shoot the ball well. It's all about numbers. Before a coach comes into the locker room at halftime to really make some adjustments, the first thing the staff looks at is the stat sheet, because the stat sheet tells the story. So business, nothing happens until something is sold. And I don't care if you're a lawyer, I don't care if you're in sales, it doesn't matter. You got to sell something. And if you can't sell anything, it's going to be really, really hard to generate enough revenue to live your best life.
We've been talking, you and I, offline about, putting together a class, a specialized class for attorneys to register for, to learn how to become an accomplished, business development expert. Can you give us maybe like a little sneak peek as to what that class would be like?
Well, yeah, I partnered with the #1 sales trainer in America. His name is Daniel Grissom, because when we wrote the book Swim, everyone loves the shark mindset, which is the 6 behaviors of a shark that kind of separates them from the other fish. And what I noticed when we began to sell our keynote Shark Mindset, almost all of our clients were sales teams. They loved it. I mean, what sales leader wouldn't want a bunch of resilient, relentless, thick skins? Sharks have thick skin. Some people call their skin bulletproof. So who wouldn't want some relentless, resilient, bulletproof, mentally tough, highly skilled, sales reps? So the name of the game is developing the skill set of selling. I knew that I can't make it to the NBA if I don't develop NBA skill set. I told my wife, we're going to make more money in business than we did in sports. And she was like, okay, I like that. Which means, Peter, I was committed to mastering another skill. The first skill I learned was how to sell. The second skill I learned was how to be a dynamic speaker on a platform. Now I'm learning more skills of how to become a great consultant and a great business coach. Wealth, wealth creation, legacy is all about mastering skill.
My wife is a major league NBA junkie. That's all she's so upset that the season's over, and she's a 76ers fan. Do you see any hope for us next year that I can share with her?
You know what? I need to talk to you offline, because I don't want you or your mom, in a bad spot. But sometimes rosters dictate how good a team can be. And let me just share something with you. I played for the Dallas Mavericks, second worst team ever in the history of the NBA. I played for the Utah Jazz, probably the winningest team ever to not win an NBA title. I played for Jerry Sloan, Stockton Malone, but I spent 5 days with the Chicago Bulls. And I ended up leaving Chicago. I signed with Utah because they gave me a little bit more money. When I think about it, man, I had a chance to play for a champion, and I talked myself out of it for a little bit more money. When I look at the Philadelphia 76ers, I just don't think they're built to be a champion right now today. I think they're a winner, right? But remember, there's a fine line between being a winner and a champion. And we created what we call a champions roadmap that we teach to our corporate clients. And we break it down. We make it really simple, really plain, the difference between a winner and a champion. And most companies, most law firms, most professionals settle on winning. And there's nothing wrong with winning. But man, with a little bit more effort, with a little bit more knowledge, with a little bit more understanding, it's not much more effort to become a champion. And our biggest client right now is Jersey Mike Subs. I've been with them for 8 years, and literally right before our eyes, we're watching them as the hottest franchise in America become the champ of the sub game, right? And you look at a Subway, Subway was an 800-pound gorilla. And when you walk by Subway at 12, if you walk by Jersey Mike's at 12, the story's being told. And so
You can't even compare
kingdoms rise and fall. That's the moral of my story.
apples to oranges.
Kingdoms rise and fall.
Yeah. Walter, this has been awesome, man. This is great.